No, it wasn't pretty, Rube. It wasn't the cleanest win of all time, but that's a tough win against a good football team, we think, and the Eagles are 2-0.
Yeah, I just went on a rant on the post-game show about this whole notion of it wasn't pretty. Like, you just went into Arrowhead Stadium where Patrick Mahomes, I think he was 58-13 in his career, against a Hall of Fame coach and a Hall of Fame quarterback, Hall of Fame defensive lineman, and won a football game. I thought it was pretty. Like most games in the NFL decided by a field goal, 3, 4 points, 2 points. I think Jalen had a quote. Were you in there for Jalen at the end? He
I was.
said something like, "It's not about who has the most fireworks; it's about who wins the game." And yeah, look, there's things they have to get better at, certainly, but that's not an easy place to play. It's loud. They have a lot of really good players, and I think it's a hell of a win.
It absolutely is a hell of a win. This is the Eagle Eye Podcast, by the way, brought to you by Nissan, Reuben Frank, and Dave Zangaro. And that's like from the big picture perspective of this. Like we talked about it last week. We'll talk about it this week. Like this team just doesn't lose games, and there's an art to that. And like there are obviously things they need to clean up. And I kind of feel the same way I did after the opener. If the, for instance, the passing offense looks like this in week 10, yeah, I think there's more of a concern there. It's week 2. They have time to figure this out. They're winning games while they figure it out.
Yeah, so I think there's 8 teams that are 2-0. There could be 9 by tomorrow, but it's just people don't realize how hard it is to win football games in this league. And you'd love them all to be 35-10, and I'm sure they'll win a few of those at some point. Although, I mean, you look at their schedule, there's not a lot of easy games there, but it's about winning and advancing, and it just doesn't matter. I thought they did the things they had to do when they had to do them. They weren't consistent really in any one thing, although defensively I thought they were really good at a couple things, and we'll get to that. But offensively, obviously they have to get better. But, man, you go to that place, and I think when you can win on opening day no matter what, there's just so many weird things that happen, especially with that weather delay. And then you go into Arrowhead in week 2. That's a team that has Andy ever been 0-2? I know he was here in 03, I think, but with that team, has he ever been 0-2? I don't know. I don't think so. Tough place to play. It's so loud, as you know, and they're really good. And they, I think they intimidate a lot of people. And there's a lot of young players on this team who probably never experienced an atmosphere like that. And they kept their composure and did what they had to do.
Yeah, it almost feels like maybe the Chiefs' aura might be a little bit gone at this point. Do you feel that way?
I do. I wrote about that a little bit this week. I mean, they were in the Super Bowl 7 months ago, so you don't want to. What were they, 15-1 last year? You don't want to get too carried away with that, but they don't have weapons. I think Brett Veach has not, and they got some injuries, obviously, but I don't think Brett Veach has done a great job of. Like the Eagles have lost a lot of really good players, and I think Howie's done a really good job of replacing them with draft picks. I don't think Brett Veach has done that. They don't have the same, call it an aura. They don't have the same juice that they used to have, and I think it's one of the reasons Patrick Mahomes looks so pedestrian at times, and he'll still make some great throws. But you look at him over the really since the start of 2023, he's a below average quarterback when it comes to passer rating, yards per attempt, yards per completion, completion percentage, interception ratio. He's below average in all those categories. And, he's clutch and he still makes big plays at big moments, not in the Super Bowl. But, I do think that they have a lot of work to do. I certainly don't think, and a couple of the guys on postgame said this could be a Super Bowl rematch. I just don't see that team being in the Super Bowl. Look, they could surprise me and just put it all back together, but I think they got some serious issues. They still have a really good defense. I thought their defense played exceptional, but that offense does not have a lot of weapons.
They don't. I mean, they will get some of those guys back over the next few weeks, and Rashee Rice after 6 games, so they'll get some of those guys back. But I think that they just don't seem to have the aura anymore. Yeah, and then like maybe the Eagles do, because now the Eagles are winning these games against quality opponents like this, And you're right. Like we'll break it down offensively, defensively, on special teams, but just it was a good team win. And we talk about complimentary football so much. Like when they needed to have plays, they had them. So
Yeah.
they get the big takeaway, and then on that ensuing drive, there's a 3rd and 10. He throws it up to Devontae Smith. They convert, and then they get a touchdown. Like those things matter. And then the defense gives up a really bad like deep ball, what looked like a busted coverage, and you're thinking, this could be where the comeback starts to happen. Then the offense like hands teams out there, special teams. So AJ Brown hands team gets the ball, then the offense gets the first down, and that's ball game. That's complimentary football, and that's like figuring out how to win games like this.
Yeah, and the notion of it not being pretty, I don't know if there's anything prettier in football than a team running out the clock against a stacked box, and you just watch those seconds tick off the clock, and then converting a first down or two when they have to, and then just taking a knee and going victory formation. I mean, that to me, that's pretty. And this team is so good at doing that. They're not scoring drives, but you keep the chains moving, you keep the clock going. The Chiefs didn't have any timeouts. You got a couple first downs when you need them. They were close, but once the clock hits 0, I mean, that's pretty.
So you're fighting back against the notion of what is pretty and what isn't.
I guess so. Yeah.
You're just tired of hearing it.
I guess that's a big part of it. And I kept hearing it in the locker room, and some of your colleagues, I guess they're my colleagues during the week, hey, it wasn't a pretty win, but you did what you had to do. What makes a win? What makes a win pretty? I mean, you got to win 35-10.
I think it's offensive success.
Yeah, and they didn't have.
And they don't have that right now.
They don't have
as much
that
as you'd like.
But they had enough to win the game. And
yeah, absolutely. No one's saying they didn't win the game, but I think there are.
I hope not. I'm sure somebody is.
Like I mean, I think there are things that they obviously need to clean up, but it's like I don't really think that it's overboard to say that it wasn't the cleanest game. There are things they need to do better, and
Sure.
and they have to fix things. I think both things can be true here.
Probably, but I think I'm right.
You just heard a phrase that you're tired of, and now you're
several
fighting.
times. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's my rant for the day. But yeah, there's certainly plenty they have to work on. I think the fact that they're 2-0 and they really haven't played a complete game yet is encouraging in a way, because if they have the players to do it. I think they have the coaches to do it. And if they can, fix some of the things that need fixing, they're going to be a really formidable team.
Yeah. All right. You want to break it down by side of the football? We can start with the offense because, they did some good things here and there. I thought the run game, it wasn't like big chunks in the run game. The longest run from Saquon Barkley tonight was 13 yards. That was his touchdown. But he kind of grinded it out a little bit. Got some tough yards when they needed him to. Jalen, the numbers are like pedestrian in terms of yards. I mean, he threw for 101 yards, but he was efficient again. 15 for 22, didn't turn the football over, almost did, but that fumble was scooped up by Grant Calcaterra. Nice play by him. He seems to do that, by the way, quite a bit. But I thought Jalen was efficient again.
Yeah, no turnovers through 2 weeks, no touchdown passes through 2 weeks. It's kind of an odd season. He's been accurate. I just get the feeling, and Kevin Pasulo's been here. We made a big deal about that. He's been here 4 years. This is a new role for him, and play calling is a new role. And I just don't think they're maybe totally in sync yet. But they've also played. This is a very good defense they just played in a loud stadium. And I think they're kind of still figuring some things out. But I have no problem with the way Jalen played. And, both games, the other team had one turnover and the Eagles didn't have any. And that one turnover, obviously the Quignon recovery of the forced fumble that we're still not quite sure who forced it, and Makuba's interception and 41-yard return before he got. Buddy Ryan used to say, "Never want to get caught by a dude wearing a number in the 70s." He is pretty fast, but you had one takeaway in each game and no turnovers, and you're 2-0, and there's definitely a correlation between those two things.
Absolutely. And it's kind of the offense, maybe not to this extent, but it's kind of the offense we saw a lot of last year was, we're going to be a little conservative. We're not going to turn the football over. And we're going to win football games. And That's what they did in this one. You mentioned Kevin Patullo. Didn't love a lot of his play calling in this game. I thought it was a little predictable. I thought it was a little blah.
Yeah.
But, they won the game. So, like, when you win a game like this, it is tough to be too nitpicky, and you don't want to go too far with pointing out the things that didn't work well. But that was my big takeaway, I think, offensively, was like I didn't love a lot of what Patullo was doing. But on the flip side, that is a good defense, and they blitzed the heck out of them today. It was 64% blitz rate, according to Next Gen Stats. So, like, they were coming at him a lot today.
Yeah. And usually Jalen makes plays. He can find the hot and makes plays against the blitz. I think he's gotten really a lot better at that, kind of since that Tampa disaster in the playoffs a couple of years ago. So I was a little surprised that he wasn't able to take advantage more. I need to watch the game again to really kind of get a sense of what was happening, but he made enough plays. I think Kansas City's a really tough team to play, especially in that building for an offense. If you score 20 points, you kind of feel pretty good about it. We'll talk about Jake Elliott when we get to special teams, but man, what a weapon! What a weapon he is, and complementing the offense. So yeah, I thought Saquon did not get a lot of. I mean, he wasn't running through any big holes or anything. He was kind of. I think Amy Fadul on the postgame show put it really well. Those were Saquon yards. He carved those yards out. I thought they were tough yards. They were physical yards. But he went forward, and yeah, I think, what was he, 22 for 88. I'll take that against that front.
His biggest hole was the touchdown. I don't think he was touched on that one.
Yeah.
But that was pretty much the only time all game where it was like, oh, there's a big lane for him. Otherwise, he had to fight for those yards.
Yeah, and he did. And in a way, I thought that was more impressive than, you run 22 times for 177 yards and nobody touches you. I mean, that's great. The holes are there, but there weren't a lot of holes there. And I thought it was a really impressive, just tough, physical, grinding, bruising performance by Saquon. I was impressed.
I get your point, but I think the 175 might be more impressive.
Well, you know what I mean.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The one thing I did like is, and it finally worked on that Devontae Smith pass, but when they were sending zero blitzes, Jalen was willing to throw the ball up to his receivers. He threw it to Devontae earlier in the game, and that's when Smitty came down on his back, and it looked like he was in a lot of pain. And then to make that play later in the game after that happened is pretty impressive.
He's so tough for a little wiry guy. I mean, he is. For me, that's the biggest surprise since I've seen him, since he got here in 21, just how tough he is at that size. And he's shown it, not just playing hurt or after getting an injury or something, but just, fighting for extra yards, fighting off physical corners and D-backs. It's really impressive stuff from a guy with his size.
Jalen Hurts came up with this line. I don't know if you guys played it on post game, but this is about Devontae Smith. He came down on his back, but he came up in the clutch.
Yeah, that was
what a Jalen line, huh?
Yeah, that was. I started calling him Jalen Shakespeare after that one.
Not bad off the cuff.
Yeah, you could see he said the first part, and then you could see the light bulb go off, and he was and he balanced it out with that. I still think Jalen's gotten more insightful in his interviews.
Oh yeah, he was explaining the cover zero, and so he apparently checked to that before the play.
Right.
So yeah, he is definitely more insightful in his interviews. He's taking us in a little bit, which I think everyone appreciates. We want to know what he's thinking on these plays and why he's doing what he's doing, and that was a good example of it.
Yeah, it was, and it makes such a difference when the quarterback can do that and help you understand why things are happening and what he's seeing.
AJ Brown was targeted today. That was a good step in the right direction. He ended up with 5 catches on 8 targets for just 27 yards, but they were trying to hit him on slants, and he made one of the most spectacular 4-yard catches I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was an incredible effort by him, one-handed going up, and I don't know how he got it.
He was asked about that, and he was just mad that he lost his footing.
I thought it was a little predictable. I'd like to. There's other things you can do. I mean, look, he's a weapon when he's catching a slant, but let's mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, I guess. But it's a good start after.
Were any of his targets not slants?
One. He was targeted on. So he ran 7 slants in this game. This is next gen stats. He was targeted on 5 of those. Caught 4 for 26 yards.
Next gen stats breaks it down by route.
No, but they have like little what they call insights, and they'll like give nuggets like that.
Okay, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So my hunch was correct. Yeah, I'd like to see a little more variety in the ways that they're trying to get AJ the ball. I mean, you can't. He's got 35 yards in 2 games. It's just something is wrong here.
Yeah, and he was in post game. You could tell he's like, I want this to be a little bit better. So that's where, like, when you hear about it's not a pretty win, like, and from his perspective, he wants the passing offense to be better. I understand that he should. Like, there's a lot of room for growth right now, and getting him the football is really where it should start.
Yeah, I agree, and I think you can. I think it's fair to like criticize certain aspects of the team's performance without, while it's still being a pretty win. So I don't want to harp on all that, but
this is a semantics argument more than
it is.
Okay.
It totally is. He's just too good to have 35 yards after 2 games, and it was good that Devontae got going a little bit. He had a couple catches, but they still have 3 10-yard completions in 2 games, which is. They didn't have 1 game last year where they had fewer than 5. They got 3 through 2 games. It's obviously they missed Goddard a little bit, but he's not really the occasional big play, but it's got to get better.
Yeah, just 4 passing attempts that traveled 10 plus air yards in this game.
So the 3 to Devontae, the 2 he caught, and the one that it looked like a DPI, and then they picked up the flag.
Yeah, the one to Devontae, right?
Yeah.
What
was the other? What was the 4th one?
I don't know.
I thought you had it in front of you. Okay.
No.
Never mind.
Anything else offensively you want to hit?
I
thought AJ Dillon in his limited role looked pretty good.
I thought that was big. I like that, and I'm glad you brought that up because he had the 1 run for 5 yards and I think a catch for 6 yards, and then Saquon, and the catch was down to the 13. Saquon comes back in. I think there's value. I thought it'd be Bigsby in that role today, but I think whenever you can give a defense a little change of pace like that, and it's not like AJ Dillon's like hugely different than Saquon. They're both power backs.
They ended up calling that a run, by the way.
Oh, did they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Either way, it was 11 yards on 2 touches. I think anytime you can just mix it up a little bit, it makes it a little tougher for the defense. And then Saquon had his best run of the game right after those 2 AJ Dillon touches. So that's one thing I did like.
I'll give you one more note on offense. Cam Latu has a little something as a lead blocker.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked like he was pretty physical.
Yeah, I like that role for him. I think, and it's much better than him than Kylan Granson. Yeah, I don't think that's the role he should be in. I thought Cam Latu gave them something. That was his first NFL game.
Yeah, former 3rd-round pick of the 49ers, one of many. One of 5 former 49ers 3rd-round picks since 2019 that have made their way to the Eagles at some point. Yeah, and he wasn't up last week, so obviously they were kind of stuck. They didn't have Kylan. They had Kylan Granson in that role, but I'll be interested to see what they do with Latu because I thought he did some good things. Big physical guy.
Yeah, the last note I have on offense, the tush push. Like we shouldn't take it for granted, but man, they ran it so effectively, and it was so huge in this game. And you saw the Chiefs, who don't have that play in their arsenal, they get stuffed on a really key 4th and 1 early in the game. Like
it was a terrible call, terrible play call. That was the Tyreek up the middle. Just like a nothing play.
Yeah, it wasn't a great call, but the Eagles had the tush push, and
Let me ask you something.
yeah,
On the first one at the goal line that they said he didn't get in, Jalen
Mhm.
didn't get in, Nick challenged it. And I don't know if you saw the same angle we did, but the low sideline angle showed the tip of the ball over the goal line.
Okay, so I never saw a replay of the ball. Like it looked like, yeah, he's probably in, but like I
Yeah.
never saw a replay that could definitively say it. And they didn't say the call was confirmed. So that's normally like them saying, yeah, probably, but we don't have proof to
Yeah.
overturn this call.
I thought there was enough there I thought the ball was over the line and Jalen's knee wasn't down, and I thought it was pretty clear. I was a little confused. Like, why have replay if you didn't see it? So, but yeah, I thought that was a bad one.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I will say Nick Sirianni, what an arm. Did you see how far he threw that challenge flag?
I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, he really tossed it. There was that one, but there was also the AJ Brown one. He had the first down. It was 9 yards to go. He had an 8-yard gain, and he like
Yeah.
rolled over the back
Yeah.
of the defensive back. It was within 2 minutes, and that's supposed to be a booth review. They didn't review it. I guess they just missed it. But I thought that was a first down.
Well, those refs, they cheat for the Chiefs. Everyone knows it. I don't get why you throw a flag on a DPI and then you just pick it up and say there's no penalty. Why'd you throw the flag? I mean, he ran right into Devontae.
My guess is they ruled it an uncatchable ball.
They never call that anymore.
They do.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like very clear the other ref ran over right away. Like, oh, they're going to pick this up.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. But anyway, Eagles overcame the refs and the Chiefs.
What?
No, I don't think it was. I thought it was. There were a couple that went the Eagles' way as well. I thought it was just kind of a sloppily called game on both sides.
Probably true.
Yeah.
Anything else offensively, or can we take a break? All right, let's take a break. We'll talk about defense and special teams when we come back.
You deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. At Nissan, we've got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heart beat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com today.
Back on the Eagle Eye Podcast, brought to you by Nissan, Reuben, Frank, and Dave Zangaro. Let's talk some defense, Rube.
Let's do that.
We'll start off with Jalen Carter. He did start the game. If anyone was wondering if there would be like a form of discipline where he sits out a series or a quarter or whatever, no, didn't happen. He was out there from the first start.
Yeah, I really didn't think Nick was. He got a game. He missed the game. He was suspended. I just think it was the right thing to do. You didn't have to. And I'm sure, I think Jalen even said he talked to him. I'm sure he heard what he needed to hear, and you move on. I thought it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
In terms of the actual defense on the field and what they did tonight, I thought in the first half, like the Chiefs offense on schedule wasn't working. It was just Mahomes beating them with his legs. I think he had 60 rushing yards at halftime.
5 for 60 or 5 for 60.
Yeah, he finished with 68, I think. So they really
66. He was 2 for 6 in the second half.
Okay. Thanks. I thought they really cleaned that up. They were way more disciplined in their rushes.
Yep.
Because that was the big issue. Like they weren't getting beat on schedule. It was just Mahomes making something happen for the most part.
He had more rushing yards than passing yards in the first half. Yeah, I thought they lost contain. They overran him. Makuba had a bad missed tackle, kind of went for the kill shot instead of just making a form tackle.
If he goes at his legs, he probably brings him down.
Probably. So yeah, that was and look, this is what Vic is so good at is adjustments. And you saw it in the Dallas game, gave up 20 points in the first half, gave up none in the second half. And I thought, and look, Mahomes is going to make some plays with his arms. Eventually he's going to hit a couple passes, but I thought when they took away his running, it really kind of hamstrung their offense and made them more one-dimensional. They didn't run the ball with their running backs at all. Yeah, I mean, Pacheco was 10 for 22. So I thought that was big. I thought it was a huge adjustment and I thought it was just a matter of calming down and just being more disciplined.
You mentioned Vic adjusting. How about the adjustment from the Super Bowl to this game? Didn't blitz at all
Yeah.
in Super Bowl 59. Blitz Mahomes 11 times, 28.9% in this game. That's a lot of fun, and they seem to be well-timed blitzes. I especially love the Makuba one.
Yeah. He's got a good little knack for blitzing. Well, he's got a good little knack for a lot of things. He's a nice player. I mean,
Oh, I thought you meant Vic.
well, that too. Um, only 3 safeties, 22 or younger, have ever intercepted Patrick Mahomes, and 2 of them are Cooper DeJean and Drew Makuba, which I think is pretty cool. But
Who's the
um,
other?
man, I was hoping you wouldn't ask me that. Antoine Wingfield, maybe?
Oh, okay. Pretty
I
good
think that's
company.
I think that's yeah, I think that's who it was. But yeah, I like those blitzes, and they didn't have Makuba. I don't think they really had a great blitzer last year. I think he's
Not
pretty good.
from well, I don't think that's true.
Who was their best blitzer last year?
Nakobe, Vaughn, CJ could come on a blitz.
Yeah, I think
Cooper from the nickel. I think they have guys who can do it.
yeah, they weren't super productive with it last year, and I like the fact that he changed up. I don't think you can beat a team like the Chiefs doing the same thing, and I think we saw that.
Let's talk about the play of the game, the Makuba pick. Yes, like it wasn't a clean pick. He didn't like make some spectacular play, diving interception. But man, the ball ended up in his hands and he caught it and he ran the other way. And like we talk about this quite a bit. There are some guys who just have a knack for being around the football, and he's clearly one of them.
Yeah, we saw it in that preseason game. He had a pick and a fumble recovery, I think. Um, yeah, the ball just finds him. And it was interesting play because Travis Kelsey can't play anymore, by the way. And he had a couple long catches, but
They played all right tonight.
I mean, that play, I don't know if
He had
vintage
4 for
Travis,
61. He was
he,
their leading receiver.
he stinks. Um, but I mean, I just thought, it was cool is like Reed Blankenship needed some great awareness to get out of Makuba's way because he was kind of like right in the middle of that play. And I think that's a tough interception when, the ball's not coming at you like in a tight spiral. It's just kind of bobbling around and he just snagged it. I wasn't sure coming out of the end zone, and I think he was in the end zone. He might have been right on the goal line. He probably didn't know, so I guess taking it out is a smart thing. You see a bunch of big guys out there. Um, you don't expect somebody in the 70s to catch him, but
That was a heck of a play by that rookie, who, by the way, had like a really serious knee injury last year.
yeah,
That was
that's
a
the
heck of
Ohio State kid, right?
Yeah, Simmons.
And I heard, were you in that Makuba? I think you were in the Makuba group.
Mhm.
He said he wanted to cut it back inside, but there was somebody there, so he just kind of, got whatever yards he could get. But he still got 41 yards and set up a touchdown. That was play of the game.
It was
He
funny.
also had a great tackle, a great stop, I think, on Hollywood Brown on a short pass on a 3rd and 1. Pretty active player.
Yeah, and he actually missed some plays early in the game. He had the Mahomes where he probably should have gone low and taken
Yeah.
his legs out. And then he had the one, it was 4th and 4. He had coverage on Kelsey, which is tough because Kelsey's not even running routes. He's just getting open.
Yeah.
But he gave up those 2 plays. And I thought it was really cool because he said he was like beating himself up a little bit on the sideline. And Reed Blankenship was like, don't do that. Like you're going to be fine, but you got to like forget that. And he said it really helped him. So I thought that was cool. And then he ends up making the play that he did, which was, pretty spectacular.
It was. And it was a great return, even though he didn't house it. You know what I liked? We were in there on Tuesday when Vic was pretty hard on Drew Makuba. Said he's got to be better. He had a couple busts. He said he was okay, but he's got to be better. And I think a lot of young guys, might shake their confidence a little bit as their coach is kind of calling them out a little bit. They might pout. They might, I don't know. You just never know how a young guy is going to receive that kind of criticism in public. But obviously it didn't bother him. He went out and played really, really well. And that shows me a little something. He can take criticism and and get motivated by it.
It was about 50-50 in the locker room between his teammates giving him a ton of credit, but also giving him a ton of grief for getting caught by an offensive lineman.
Yeah, who was giving him grief? I'm sure Nolan was one of them.
Didn't hear Nolan as much. Cooper was pretty vocal, which I guess he can be. He had a pick 6 against this team, I remember.
He
right?
got in the end zone.
That was him, right? Yeah.
he got in the end zone against Mahomes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was funny to hear like great job, Drew, but also like you got caught by a lineman.
Yeah.
And on that play, you and I were talking about it. We weren't sure if Jalen Carter got a fingertip on that football out of Mahomes' hands.
Yeah.
Carter wasn't sure either. He said he didn't know. And I gave him a piece of really good advice. I said, next time that happens, if you celebrate, everyone's going to think you got a hand on that because we don't really know.
Right. I think he did not. I watched the replay.
Even if he did, it didn't seem to change the trajectory or the spin on the football or anything.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, it was just
got close to it though.
What a huge play down at the goal line.
I don't know exactly what happened on that coverage bust late in the game, but that wasn't great. Like that let them back in the football game. You have a deep ball, and you think like, oh, the game's over. It's just something to remember. Like you can't ease up, especially when you're playing a quarterback like that who has the knack for coming back in a tight game like we saw today.
That's one thing Mahomes does. It's like he's not the guy he used to be, but he's clutch. He's really clutch, and the game's never over. That's why I was so impressed with the way the Eagles ran out the clock. How much time was left? Was it 3:20 something?
They got the ball with 3 left.
3 even on the Thornton touchdown. So, that's a lot of time. Now, Chiefs didn't have any timeouts, but they had the 2-minute warning. They've got all the momentum. I mean, look, the place was going nuts. Everybody – I'm not sure onside kick is the play there with 3 minutes left, even with no timeouts. That surprised me a little bit.
I was wondering if Andy was hoping that they could kind of get the Eagles, like stop them, get them to kick a field goal quickly, and then get the ball back with a chance to score a touchdown and win the game.
Maybe. Especially
with the way Nick handled an earlier situation, which we'll get to later. I want to talk about like that sequence at the end of the half, but that was on my mind. Like maybe Andy was trying to like almost bait them into kicking a field goal quickly if they got to stop.
Could be. I don't think it was the kind of game where the Eagles offense was going to do anything quickly, but
yeah, well, that's maybe why you don't kick it deep, because if they get, they plod their way and
yeah. Could be. It was an interesting sequence. And I mean, Drew Makuba is a kid playing his second NFL game. Make a play like that against that quarterback in that building. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, I wrote this somewhere. Going into this game, Patrick Mahomes was 56-13 at Arrowhead in his career. I mean, he doesn't lose in that building. It's great stuff.
Can we talk about Zadarius Smith?
Yeah. 20 snaps, was it?
Huh?
I think he played 20 snaps.
It was something around there. Yeah. Heck of a performance from him. He gave them something immediately.
He really did. And made a big
He was excited to play too, man. He was the first guy out there in early warmups, or at least one of them, the first guy in full pads. Like he was ready to go today.
This is a guy who's 33, wasn't in a camp, hadn't hit anybody since January 5th, I think it was, when they got eliminated. Just turned 33 with a new team, had 3 practices. What day did he sign? Was it Friday? A week
the day
after
Friday? The game, yeah.
It was the day after the game, right? Had 3 practices, doesn't know his teammates' names, just getting to know his coaches. And he went out there, he made a big hit on a run. Big stuff. He had half a sack. I thought he should have had the whole thing because he was my bold prediction that he'd have a sack and a half.
Well, that wouldn't have helped you.
But it would have been closer.
Okay.
It would have been closer. I thought he had a couple pressures. He had a tackle for loss. He was really active and squeezed a lot. I think he had 4 tackles, squeezed a lot into 20 snaps.
Oh, yeah. He looked really good. And that's encouraging because, if it's like 20 snaps, I don't know where it's going to finish in terms of the usage, but he's going to play an awful lot.
Yeah. Another big pickup for Howie. And yeah, if he's in this, I give the guy credit for being in this kind of shape at 33 to come in cold basically after, and I'm sure he was working out on his own, but that's different than football shape, as we know. I give him a lot of credit for being. I mean, early in the week, we didn't even know if he was going to play. We didn't know if he'd
We
be
did.
up. We kind of did, but then that you have to see what he's like in practice, and can he handle it? How many I think I said, what did I say, 15 to 20? So he's on the top end of that. That was my prediction for snaps. I was really impressed. I think he's going to play more and more as he acclimates more and more, gets in better shape.
I was very encouraged by him. Defensively, Moro Ojima had a sack. The other sack was just Makuba and Smith. So just 2 sacks on Mahomes, but I thought they had some decent pressure on him.
I did too. And yeah, the 2 sacks, but I just thought they had people around him the whole game.
Once they cleaned up the
runs,
scramble issues,
I thought they really pressured in numbers, and I thought by the second half, other than a couple snaps, he really didn't get a chance to set his feet and really fire. I kind of expected more than 2 sacks, but look, he's really good at escaping pressure and running around and making stuff up, doing that scramble drill stuff. But I thought I really liked the pressure they got on him. I thought Jalen Carter had some terrific pressures and didn't have a sack.
He said he was like dealing with like a little stinger or something like that.
Yeah.
He was really grabbing at that right arm for almost the entire second half. So we'll monitor that going forward, because he just didn't look like himself. There were some plays where it's like he's not really able to do everything. I thought he had some really good moments and then some not so great moments, but overall, like, having him on the field is just a complete game changer.
Sure is. Yeah.
We talked about the Makuba pick. The other big play on defense was that 4th down stop, the turnover on downs. Nolan Smith is just such a fun player, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is. And I was trying to find a replay. Never saw a replay, so I was looking online trying to find one, and I was like, this is taking too long. So I never did see it again, but I thought Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis had great penetration.
Yeah, it was those 3 that really made the play.
Yeah, and it was it. I didn't love the call by Andy, but hey, you take it. And Nolan is just he still doesn't have a sack this year, I guess, but I think he's playing at a pretty high level.
I'd agree with that. In terms of usage on defense, we still saw Sidney Brown as the safety and base, and then Makuba gets the safety reps in nickel. And then at cornerback, Adoree Jackson outside in nickel. They have Cooper DeJean still playing outside cornerback in base.
Yeah, and it wasn't a perfect game by Adoree, but I mean, he was better just by definition of, like, they don't have great receivers. What were Hollywood Brown's final numbers? Just 5 for 30. Juju had 1 for 5. Yeah. So I mean, their wide receivers were under 100 yards as a group.
Yeah, I mean, really, Hollywood Brown's like, he's the only one on that team right now who's like a legitimate NFL receiver.
Yeah, I don't know how you end up with, I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster as your number 2 wide receiver. How does that happen?
And Thornton caught the deep ball. Like,
yeah, he did.
He
did. But yeah, I thought they tackled well. I thought they covered well most of the time.
I think Adoree gave up that one pass and he missed a tackle after.
Yeah.
You'd like to see him get him down. And he got banged up in this game. Looked like they were wrapping his hand or wrist. Jacorian Bennett was out there for a little bit.
Yeah. And that's why I thought it did make sense. Early in the week, I was like, I just want to see Jacorian Bennett. But then I started thinking about it. And I think I wrote this, that Adoree, you give him that, like, the last thing you want to do is start like having a new guy out there every week. You want some continuity. We knew the Chiefs didn't really have a lot of firepower at wide receiver. So let's see what he can do against a lesser offense. He doesn't have to go cover CeeDee Lamb. And it was better. He's still not. I mean,
I still would have made the change.
I know you would have. And you can make that case, certainly.
Yeah. Because if we're being honest, like, the level of receiver in the league is better than what the Chiefs have.
That's fair. And certainly with the Rams, they're going to have their hands full. But Yeah, I can see both sides, but I still don't think Adoree Jackson's long for being out there. But I think if Ja'Cory Bennett was a legitimate, I mean, I don't know, maybe Vic just doesn't trust him yet. I don't know what it is, but he said he was going to have a long leash, and he didn't do anything to get benched today.
Fair enough. There were some good individual plays in this game. Cooper DeJean had one where he like shed a block, made a big tackle. Zach Bond, I thought, had an active day. Jahad Campbell, I think, actually led the team in tackles. So like ho hum, the linebackers were good again, which is funny. Uh, but I thought Cooper had a pretty active day.
Yeah, there's not a lot of criticisms of the defense. I mean, that the one breakdown at the very end, but I mean they're sitting at 10 points with 3 minutes left. It's kind of hard to be critical. There's things I thought they played the run well, other than Mahomes against running backs. They played the run well. Second half, they really shut the run down. They pressured, they tackled. Look, 17 points in that building is you're going to win most of the time.
Anything else on defense?
I think they have a chance to be a really, really good defense. You know what? They're going to shut somebody out before this year's over. I'm going to predict that.
Are you going to pick the game?
Before the game, I will.
Okay.
But not tonight. Yeah.
That's fair. Special teams?
Yeah.
How about Jake Elliott?
He's now the most accurate kicker in NFL history from 58 yards and out, which I'm sure you looked up as well. He was tied with Harrison Butker coming into the game, which is fun because Butker missed his 58-yarder and Jake hit his, which should have been a 53-yarder. It was stupid. It was a ridiculous flag on
Charlie Hewlett.
Charlie Hewlett, thank you. I couldn't think.
Did he not move the football?
What's that?
Did he not move the football?
Barely. The center always does that.
Okay.
You have to move it to snap it. I didn't think it was egregious. I didn't think it was worth calling.
I never saw a replay on that one.
I mean, he moved it imperceptibly, I guess, but perceptible to the ref. Whatever. Either way, Jake has become such a weapon. He's got 6 career 58-yarders, and only 2 kickers have more in their career. I love this stat. You know, he made a 58-yarder against the Cowboys. He's the first kicker in history to make a 58-yarder in each of a team's first 2 games. And he had only made 2 58-yarders in his previous 62 games. And only made 1 50-yarder all last year, made 2 tonight. That's 3 already. He's one of the best long-distance kickers in NFL history. He just is.
Yeah, and it's encouraging because last year, I know there were probably some circumstances that led to it, but 1 for 7 from 50-plus in the regular season. He's now 3 for 3 to start this season.
Yeah, and look, this offense has not been, explosive. And when you have a kicker who can make a 58-yarder, he's now 6 for 7 in his career. What's that, 86%? When you make that almost 90% of the time, coach is going to, dial that up pretty soon after you get across midfield. I mean, he's a weapon. So he's a big part of the offense right now. If they keep playing these like close to the vest, low scoring games in the 20s, and he keeps making big field goals, that's huge.
Tank Bigsby was back there on kick returns, but Chiefs wanted no part of him. Every kickoff went to John Mechie on the other side. Jahan Dotson fielded all of his punts. I thought maybe one of them he
caught like on the 4.
Yeah, maybe should have let it go into the end zone. You never know. Maybe there's some backspin on it, and you're better off him catching it. That was the only one I questioned a little bit.
Yeah, I think that ball was going into the end zone pretty. I mean, it wasn't one of those fluttering ones that you think might, just bounce at the one and stick there. I thought that ball was pretty high. It was going to maybe even go to the end zone on the fly, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but he looked smooth catching the ball. I actually talked to him on Friday about a lefty punter, and we got in the weeds about because the Eagles brought in somebody this week who's a lefty just to get used to the spin. And I was like, how much does it really help? And he was like, oh no, it's necessary. It's a big deal, which I found very dorky and interesting to talk about.
That's a nice little glimpse into Dave Zangaro's life.
It was funny. We're in the locker room and he's like mimicking. He's like showing me you got to get your body this way. And people are probably like, what the heck are they talking about right now?
That's great. Is there a video of this? Hopefully.
I hope not. Anything else special teams wise?
Yeah, Braden Mann's just I think he had a 70-yard punt. Like, he's just so
He
good.
did. There was, I mean, but he did boot one into the end zone.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
There's not many of those, though.
Aren't many. Yeah. You'd like to see him angle that one better. But yeah, he's good. 5 punts today,
What was his net?
54.8 average.
42.4 net is very good. Yeah, the one touchback, one side the 20. Best punter in Eagles history.
By the numbers or by the eye test? What are you doing there?
I don't know. I'm just saying stuff.
Okay.
I don't
I don't know if that's true.
You should know. I mean, Donnie Jones is pretty good.
Yeah.
Landetta was pretty good.
Cameron
Johnny
Johnson
Butler.
was pretty good.
Yeah, he was. That guy, Matt, what was his name? Matt with one T.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Who's a Matt with one T? Matt McBriar?
Oh, McBriar. Okay.
Matt McBriar. He was pretty good. Anyway,
Sav
enough.
Rocca.
Sav Rocca was pretty
Start
good.
naming random.
Johnny Telchik. Johnny Telchik was great.
All right. What'd you make of? Let's move off for that. What'd you make of Nick
Johnny
Sirianni?
Telchik, when he was at Texas, lived in the
So
same floor as Mary Lou Retton.
Hmm.
And he said she used to like tumble down the hallway, just come out of her room and tumble down the hallway. Anyway,
That's pretty
yes.
cool, actually.
Yeah.
Nick Sirianni, end of half. What'd you make of that sequence?
Yeah, I thought he handled it well considering the game.
Okay.
He had a very detailed, long answer about it, which I appreciated.
Yeah, I appreciate and he knows that it's going to be questioned, but I appreciate he at least let us into his thought process.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I didn't love it. I understand that maybe you don't have a lot of confidence in your offense right now, but and to his point, yes, they won by 3 points, but I'd like you to be a little more aggressive there.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is just where they were as an offense.
Yeah. Which is pretty telling.
Yeah.
I think if he doesn't trust them to get out, or at least if worse comes to worse, then you can't score a touchdown. If you get that first down, you have a chance to make it an easier field goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's easy to second guess it, but it did work out.
Yeah. And to be clear, as it was happening, I was like, what's going on? Why are they letting this time run?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I have. Anything else on your list? Any leftovers?
Oh, just one, and I'm trying to call up the page here. Nick Sirianni improved. Do you know the Eagles have only lost 13 games since the weeds growing underground, roots growing underground, not weeds. He improved his career winning percentage to 714. From 710 to 714. He leapfrogged Hall of Famer George Allen, who had a 712 winning percentage. He now trails only Hall of Famer Guy Chamberlain, who coached in the 20s and won 4 NFL championships, including 1926 for the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets. So Guy Chamberlain won a championship in Philadelphia.
Good
There were
quote.
no postseason back then. It was based on regular season. So we went on, we were done early. Like we went on vacation, right? Like January.
Took the horse and buggy down the shore.
Guy Chamberlain, John Madden, and Vince Lombardi are the only coaches ahead of him. Obviously, Madden's the most recent one. He coached through 78. Pretty good company. This team, and we talked about it on the last pod. I mean, they just win. They just win all the time. We don't even get to do Dave's
Positivity corner. That's almost extinct at this point.
We've done the positivity corner 13 times in the last 4 years.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
When they eventually lose again this year, we're going to forget how to do it.
I think we'll remember.
Okay.
We'll be all right.
I don't have much else here. Good time in Kansas City. Got some barbecue last night after a travel nightmare.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. You almost got stranded in Chicago.
Yeah, there was a ground stop in Chicago, so I was supposed to leave 7:20 a.m. from Philly, and I didn't leave until noon.
Oh, were you on the plane or at the gate?
Half and half. Deplaned, boarded, waited. And then in Chicago, I thought they put me on a connector, and I ran through the airport, got there in time, but they had given my seat away because I wasn't there in time. And then the only other flight was a 7 p.m. It was like 1:30 at that point, and they put me on standby for that one. So my option was like either wait around all day or try to find another flight. And I found a flight on a different airline, but I was prepared to rent a car and drive to Kansas City. I didn't want to do that, but that was my next,
515 miles, Dave.
that would have been my next move, and I'm glad I didn't have to do it.
There's no way to fly in this morning. There's nothing leaving
I
at 6.
wouldn't have chanced it.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad you made it in for the game, and good luck traveling tomorrow.
All right. Yeah, thank you. Anything else? Can we wrap this up?
Yeah.
All right. For Reuben Frank, I'm Dave Zangaro. This has been Eagle Eye, presented by Nissan. We'll talk to you soon.